Welcome to the Afghan Eye YouTube channel. If this is your first visit, make sure to subscribe and press the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our new videos. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Afghan Eye podcast. I'm your host Sangar Paikar, and in this episode our esteemed guest is a teacher, mentor, and author, Gulmakai Saleh, who is also the founder and creative director of The Golden Tree of Goodness. Gulmakai has published multiple books for children, and she's also very active as an advocate for the people of Afghanistan who are currently experiencing a humanitarian crisis. Gulmakai, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Afghan Eye podcast.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
It's an honor to have you. Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions just so that our listeners and viewers can get to know you a little bit more. Before we go into your work as a professional, could you tell us something about your own background?
Of course. I was born in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and I came to the United States of America when I was 4 years old. This was during the Soviet Union invasion time. I was raised here, lived here, and I'm married. I have 4 children. I'm heavily involved with the community, both Muslim and non-Muslim community. It is my passion to help them in any way I can possible. I love learning history. I love psychology. And of course, I also love learning Islam, my deen.
Okay, so what I noticed from doing my research about your work is that you are a teacher, a mentor, and lecturer. What did you study actually? What is your academic background?
I'm studying Islamic psychology. I'm working towards my degree in that. But I am myself very passionate about learning. So I don't think education stops at the school. Once you graduate, education should continue. Every day is a learning day. It's something that we learn and we grow on.
Okay. And your books, you are specifically writing books for children. What is what drives you to write books for children? Why is that?
Yes, I am writing for children, but I haven't had the chance to announce. But I also took part in writing an Islamic book with another sister. It's just recent. I just didn't get a chance to promote it because of what is happening. What inspires me to write children books? So it started back in my own life, being a refugee. I grew up seeing both the good and the bad of people. Coming from Afghanistan during the invasion, we came to Pakistan. And in Pakistan, we stayed for 2 years there before we came to America. While we were staying in Pakistan, my father, he built a home on a piece of land. I'm not sure if he didn't get the correct permits or what. So the government knocked down our homes, our home and other people's homes that were built there because there were some issue. So in the newspaper, a Pakistani family of 2, the husband and the wife and a son, so a family of 3, saw in the news that we became homeless. So they found us and they opened their 1-bedroom apartment to us. So even though I was very young to remember, somehow the psychology teaches us that, something, a big event happens that has a lot of emotions attached to it, it impacts the child. So this kindness of this family really impacted me. Like, I want to find this family wherever they are. Her name is Parmina. So her kindness, made me see such a beautiful thing as a child. Then, of course, we came to the United States of America. A church sponsored us. And in that church, there were some people who stayed with us even till this day. One of my friends, she just passed away recently. She's been our friend since then. They opened their arms to us, gave us a home, fully supplied, took care of us. So going to another country, in Pakistan, people of another nationality, then coming to America, people of another nationality and religion, language, culture, I saw the beauty of goodness. So that was something that inspired me. At the same time, coming to America, living here, it was not always like everything was good. We did have the racists, the Islamophobic going on, but not up to the level that's going on today. So we had neighbors. We were living in a neighborhood that were all not so friendly because we were Muslim. Or when I was in school, I was bullied because I was a Muslim, especially in middle school. This is when the first Iraq war was happening, and I was a visible Muslim because of my hijab. And there was a bully in school who was always bullying me, and he was the leader and had all these other kids follow along with him. So that really hurt me. I mean, it did really impact me, for a while. Of course, it affects your self-esteem. Then during the same time, we were supposed to, in class, we were supposed to look at other people's journals, another student's journal. So one of the boys' journal I looked at, and he's a white boy, and in his journal he has written about him being bullied. And I was like, subhanallah, you don't have to be a Muslim. This is a white boy Christian, he's being bullied too. So it's not that people are picking on me because I'm just a Muslim. So I remember what the teacher had replied in his journal: "Sticks and stones might break your bones, but words will never break you." So I took those words into mind, and I tried to become more resilient. As I grew older, I knew Islam, but I know the culture Islam. My parents really tried to teach me Islam. At that time, we didn't have a lot of Islamic centers. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have books. So we just knew the basics of Islam. But in my 20s, this is when the internet came out, the computers were coming out. So I got one and I did my research. I started taking classes. The Islam before I knew was more of the punishment Islam. Everything is haram, everything is wrong. You can't do anything. I didn't really know about the love and the mercy of Allah until one day I went to visit my family, and my younger brother and sister who would go to Sunday school. They were running out the door towards me, and they said, "You know something? Allah is not mean. Allah is Rahman. Allah is loving." So they start giving me their books. I'm very young at this age still. They start giving me their Sunday books that is talks about Allah and stuff. And I just sat there the whole time with my family, reading the whole book from front to back, the whole lesson chapter book. So it really taught me that the rahmah of Allah is greater than His wrath. This is something that it's not just in the Afghan culture, but other cultures too, especially from Asia, where we focus so much on the haram, the wrath, instead of the love and the mercy of the goodness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, of course, as I had my own children, I was growing up, everything was happening around us. There was a lot of hate, of course, that makes the news, killing, wars. And I asked myself, what can I do to change the world? What can I do? What power do I have? So being a teacher, I saw how children were inspired by stories and how stories moved them. I was never into writing. I was never in my mind did I think that I would be an author. So I decided to say, hey, let me start writing. So I did write a book, and my sister, she had a publisher who published my book. I did my own illustration on my first book, the Goodness Soup. And it was such a great feeling to write that book. So then as I'm teaching, I write more books, and when I go to school and I teach my young kids and I tell them I'm an author, they wouldn't believe me. So the next day I would bring in my book and show it to them, and subhanallah, you should see their eyes. They light up with so much joy. So that really I mean, it also triggered me to write more books because why? I mean, like these young children, they're Muslims. Because I was teaching at Islamic schools, and there are young Muslims who, there's a lot of Islamophobic rhetoric going on. They don't have that sense of pride, the good pride, to be feeling good about themselves. For them to meeting a Muslim author was like amazing. Like I would hear them that throughout the day talking to everyone. My teacher is an author. My teacher is an author. So this is something like imagine the impact of these books and what I do. If it's if I could just help one person become a better adult, because it's once a person reach adult, it's hard to change them. So I said, let me just focus on the kids as much as possible. But yeah, here and there, I would like do workshops for parents at the same time, teachers and caregivers, to help them apply the golden rule, which is the main message of my books.
Thank you for telling your very moving personal story. And there are so many things that I hear from you that resonate with me as well, because when we came to the Netherlands as refugees here, we used to live in a refugee camp, and there were different groups of Christians who would come to the refugee camp to try to proselytize us. But then there were also other Christians who would come, and they were not so much interested in converting people, but they were like, okay, you guys have fled a war zone. What is it that we can do for you? Do you need to have any sort of assistance learning the language? Or there were all different kinds of people. And there was one Christian family who their house was like very close to our refugee camp. It was a man and a woman, and they didn't have children. And they have helped our family a lot, and like it was so nice of them. They were so kind to us that even now, almost 3 decades later, I still remember how they were very kind towards us. They invited us to their house, and they would help my mother because my mother was alone. My father wasn't there. And they were like, they were like a family taking care of us. And, as you said, if somebody makes a good impression on you while you are very young, that stays with you for the rest of your life. And I still think that, that's one of the reasons why I also have a balanced view about my position in this country, because when we were in the refugee camp, our caravan, we were staying in a caravan, we were attacked in the middle of the night. Skinheads, they came and they threw rocks at our caravan. And those caravans are from very soft shell, so when those big rocks land on a caravan, it's like explosions. So it felt like we were back in Afghanistan. So I had a very mixed experience. On the one hand, we were attacked with rocks, and at the same time there was also a Dutch family that was being very kind to us. So it helps me. It certainly helped me as a kid to have a very balanced perspective on matters. But I wanted to ask you about the golden tree of goodness, and you mentioned the golden rule. Can you explain what you mean by the golden rule and why this is such a central philosophy of your work and your writing?
So what these people in my life demonstrated, those who did the good acts, were the golden rule. It was the essence of the golden rule, to treat people the way you want to be treated. So that's the main book, my messages, the workshops I give. As a Muslim, there's a hadith in which it says, you're not a true believer until what you wish for yourself, you wish it upon others. This is the golden rule in Islam. And of course, when I did my research, when I was writing my books down, this is also ingrained in other faiths, in Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism. Even atheists have this principle in their, we could say, belief. So this golden rule, it all has the same principle: to treat people as I want you or I want to be treated. We don't want to be called names. We don't want to be hurt by anyone. So why are we hurting others? So that is the main focus of my books and my workshops that I conduct. I do visit non-Muslim organizations, which they invite me to give talks regarding this, and I try to connect with them. We are living in a global world, so it's not just, oh, let me just fix my home, or just let me fix my community. If we're living somewhere, we have to help everyone around us as much as we can.
Yes, and that's a very beautiful concept, because it resonates with everyone, and especially living in a very diverse community like North America or here in Western Europe, we are surrounded with people with all different sorts of beliefs, values, and then there are still some core beliefs that we all share as human beings. Would you say that it's not being taught enough, or it is sort of evaporating from the upbringing of children?
Well, as a teacher, the books and the curriculum I see, it is there to a certain degree, but it's just the lifestyle here. And I could talk about America. The lifestyle here is very busy. Like everyone is on the run. It's like we don't have that neighborly love anymore. We don't have it. It's probably I live in a big city. That's why maybe in the smaller villages, countryside, there is that neighborly love. But most of the time, everyone's just busy in their own world. They don't have an interest in helping or not helping a person. Very, like, even recently, it was very horrifying. I don't want to really bring this up, but in the city I live, in the train, there was a young girl on the train, and she was raped by a man, and there was people standing there watching her, recording her, and not helping her. For 45 minutes, this person was bothering her, and this really saddens me. What have the society gone to? Where are we going? Where are we heading towards? What happened? Okay, that man was wrong in doing what he did, but the bystanders, why are we quiet? Why are we just, enjoying ourselves and, recording what's going on instead of intervening? So yeah, the golden rule, it needs to be, one, taught more, two, applied by the adults too. As we are the adults, we have to set the example of how to implement the golden rule. We shouldn't be just people of words, but people of action.
And in your experience as an author, but also as a teacher and mentor, have you seen the impact of what you're teaching and what you're sharing with people? Do you have any stories to share with us?
I have, there's parents who do message me and say, thank you for the advice you gave us. Sometimes it's just simple advice I give them that, sometimes they're so busy in their life, they have so much issues that sometimes an outsider could just give a simple advice, and it solves like a big issue they have. And I have receiving messages from parents, from audience who been to my workshop, that how that my advice, my way of applying the golden rule has affected them. There was this one time, one of my students' parents messaged me a couple years later. I have students, they're grown now, some of them, and I do follow them, and they follow me on all the different apps. But this one parent, she messaged me, and she said, my son, she's a Muslim. Her son wasn't a Muslim, but he was my student in the Islamic school, because it was from a previous marriage before she converted to Islam. So she sent me a message. She said, I want to thank you for inspiring my son and being, such trying to be a good example for him. So she tells me, he tells everyone that you had a race with him because he loved racing. So I said, okay, let's
Yeah.
challenge each other to a race. Of course, he was a young boy. He won the race and I lost. But, just that simple act of, doing something that interests the young boy who loved to run. And I raced with him. And now he is, he's involved in a race team and he's doing so many great things. So she messaged me to thank me for that. And I was really blessed to be part of his life during that time.
Yes, while I was just thinking about what you said about how you grew up, what you experienced in early stages of your life, there is something that I noticed, especially among Afghans in the diaspora in Western country, is that we have this experience of living in different countries, in different communities with different kinds of people, experiencing hardship, all sorts of adversity. And by the time we become adults, we are carrying this very large body of experience and insights that wherever you see Afghans, especially in Western countries, and maybe I am very biased in thinking that, but I notice that Afghans are generally very well accomplished because they can translate that experience into something that is practical and something that resonates with other people. You see many people from Afghanistan who end up becoming teachers. They have these very positive and influential roles in any community that they are. And it makes me very proud to be part of a community like this, to knowing people like you. But at the same time, I also realize that we are the way we are because of our experience. We have been through a lot, and that has made us who we are. And some experiences in life can actually make you very bitter and negative, but at the same time, you can also actually be a positive role model for your community, for people. And I sort of recognize that in you as well. What I also noticed that aside from your work as an author and as a teacher, you're also very active within the community as an advocate. Do you see any relations between the philosophy of the golden rule that you're advocating and your work as an active member of the community? Like, I mean, right now you're also involved in promoting the Afghan Starvation campaign. Could you tell us something about that?
Sure. So, we could preach all we want, but if we're not acting upon what we preach, our advice is useless. It is very, very crucial, important, especially if you have young people watching you all the time. So, I'm, besides Allah always watching me and the angels writing about my good or bad deeds, all these young eyes that I have taught my own children, my nieces and nephew, and my students, they're always watching me because I'm out in the open. I am on all these social media platforms that they see me. So I have to set a better example than if I was not as active, not preaching what I was talking about. So I have to set the example. I have to tell them, this is how you apply the golden rule. This is how you do it with your own self. This is how you do with your family. And this is how you apply it within your community or globally. The End Afghan Starvation is a new campaign with a group of Afghans who have come together in the United States of America, and other parts of the world have also joined us. And just recently, we had a few non-Afghans who have joined this campaign. We had a great meeting yesterday. Every week we have a meeting to do something. So our our campaign to end Afghan starvation is about humanitarian. It's not about politics. We take politics from our cause. The focus is on the innocent people who are dying day and night in Afghanistan because of not having food. We are living in 2021. What kind of world this is that people are starving to death when there's so much food to go around that we could, feed people for a year or more. Even if Mars was full of people, we could have sent food there. But here on our own planet, we are not realizing the damage we are causing the people of Afghanistan because of the policies that are brought about by the United States of America. It is our duty. It is our job as humans, humans in humanity, to help and alleviate the pain of not just Afghanistan, but worldwide. Whoever's starving, whoever needs medical help, whoever needs financial help. If it's in our ability, we should try to do it and help them. And the end Afghan starvation, this is our goal. First, we are making awareness about this crisis. There are many people who are not aware. And then also there's conflicts within this message, because there's people who say, well, this will cause other issues. So they stay away from it. So we do have a research team going on to provide evidence that no, these sanctions on Afghanistan, it's not the right way to do it. There's other ways, there's other methods if we want something done. But we shouldn't put a human's life in jeopardy because of our policies. The other thing we're doing is uniting all Afghans with this. And Afghans are somewhat divided, but alhamdulillah, so far I'm having a good response from the Afghan community. They once we talk to them, when we are trying to provide educational information to them. We're also working on a panel discussion, which we'll do live. We're doing research articles. Which once the website is up, we will post it and people could read. And this misconception they have regarding the humanitarian crisis will make them understand better, and hopefully they will join us to end the starvation in Afghanistan. The other thing we are doing is we are working on a petition. We're working on doing a global protest. But first, we are going to focus go to the White House and have a big as possible protest there. We want Biden to hear us. We want to speak for the people of Afghanistan who don't have a voice of what's going on for the past 43 years, and not 20 years, 43 years. We want to speak out for them, but the main thing is the humanitarian crisis. That is what we are going to speak about, and we're going to ask, or better yet, demand that Biden rethinks the policies that he has put together against Afghanistan, the innocent people of Afghanistan.
And so far, you said that a lot of non-Afghans have also participated in this campaign. I am aware of Afghans from also the Netherlands being involved in this initiative, and I think there are also Afghans from the UK. But who else? Any other communities, people from other nationalities?
So the UK, Canada, Austria, Australia, we have people from there. Even Malaysia, we have this video campaign called the Empty Spoon Challenge, where you just make a video eating from an empty spoon or passing down an empty spoon. The empty spoon represents the hunger the people of Afghanistan are facing. So alhamdulillah, we had a family from Malaysia who made that video, and they shared it with us, and we posted. We were very, very touched by that. Having Muslims who are not Afghans doing that video, then also seeing non-Muslims and non-Afghans who are helping us. So we're building momentum. My phone and all the core members of the team, our phones are just like packed with messages, people emailing us, texting us, and so it is a 24-hour job for most of us. Even one of the core members, she was like, I need to get an office because this is becoming like a full-time job. And it's going to be hard. It's not an easy thing, telling the United States of America to rethink your policy towards Afghanistan. This is a big thing, a big task, and we need all people on board. This is where the golden rule could be applied by others, and this is something that it is ingrained in all faiths. We don't want the people of Afghanistan to starve. So please join us on this effort to alleviate our people from this hunger.
And you said that this campaign is starting to gain momentum. What about media coverage? Have you guys had any contacts with like maybe CNN or BBC, anything like that?
We're trying to gain their attention, but we are reaching out to them, but maybe they're not interested. Allah knows best. Maybe once it becomes more and more popular and more people use the hashtag end Afghan starvation or make the spoon challenge, or, we also have like a countdown to Christmas, because if we don't do anything by the end of this year, it'll be too late to change the tables. It'll be too late to help Afghanistan, because it's going to be one of the world's largest in history humanitarian crisis. So thanks to some organizations such as AHO, they are helping us with this awareness. And we have other organizations that are coming forward, like United Afghan Association, and we also had T-shirts made for us without even us asking. Sympathy, she's there on Instagram, and they made the hashtag T-shirts and hoodies that people could buy and promote the message.
And you said that you guys are planning to have a big protest in front of the White House. Are there any other protests being organized elsewhere around the world?
Yes. So far, there's one who will happen in UK. We're also going to have others in other parts of America, not just this one. So we're encouraging others to also have it. If we all could have it on the same day, we have everything. We have all the flyers and the documents ready, the banners. We could send it to them, and they could have or organize a protest. So yes, in Austria, in Australia, in UK, and even maybe in Canada, we're still talking with them.
And are there any politicians, members of the U.S. Congress involved in this campaign, or any other significant figures?
We are reaching out to them, but like I said, it's not a topic they want to be part
of. Something that I notice is that, like, the New York Times, the BBC, many other very renowned media platforms, they are publishing stories of how people are starving in Afghanistan, literally. We see a report by Human Rights Watch. Many other international organizations have issued their concerns. And yet, for some reason, we don't see like a widespread campaign organized by politicians or people being mobilized. And do you think that this is going to be like this for a long time, or because of what has happened in the last few years? Or do you think that people at some point will just put the politics aside and start being involved in this campaign and try to do actually something about it?
I think the first fault, it belongs to us, our Afghan community. We need to unite on this. So one thing I did notice about our campaign and the people that come, they come from different political thoughts. That's their thoughts. It doesn't come into our campaign. We are not supporting any politics. We're not supporting the Taliban. We're not supporting ISIS. We're not supporting the previous government, Ashraf Ghani's government. We're not supporting NFR, the Northern Resistance Group. We're not supporting any of these groups. they had their ways. That's their ways. What we're supporting are the humans, the people, the living human, which, Allah has told us that if you save one life, you have saved all of humanity. So this is our main goal, and our fault is that we are not united on this. We think that if we fight for these policy changes, that we're supporting the other political movement, or we're supporting that. But this is a wrong misconception people have. There has been during previous Taliban, the first time they ruled, where humanitarian aid and development aid was given to the people of Afghanistan through grants. So there are ways, because since August, not only are the banks frozen, not only the sanction, but also the funds to these development aids and humanitarian aid have been really cut off. And the NGOs there can't really have access to large sum of monies where they could help the people there. So our first priority is to urgent call to send more aid, humanitarian aid and development aid to the people. They need our aid. If we don't give it to them, many will die. And that'll be on our hands because we stood quietly, or we thought, I'm not supporting this cause because it has nothing to do with me.
Do you feel like there are specific things that our audience can do? Like, how can they practically get involved and do something? Like, what would you prescribe our audience to do?
So the first thing is educating yourself. Do your research. Like you said, that news article, that was very good. Where there are good people out there who are writing about it. So we can't all say everyone's the same. There are journalists who are working hard to bring it to light. So educate yourself first, then reach out to campaigns. If you want to join ours and Afghan Starvation, you could use the handle, the email, gmail.com. It's all the same. Reach out to us and be part of our team. The second thing is spreading awareness. So others become aware of it. There's certain NGOs you still could donate and help. You could also write to your Congress people, your state representative, call them, email them, tell them to reconsider their policies they have towards Afghanistan, especially regarding the humanitarian aid and the development aid. These two things should not be political. These are two things that should be given without holding back.
And right now, you have this empty spoon challenge. So if somebody wants to participate in that challenge, what is it that they need to do?
So first, they could go visit our Instagram, and they could look at a few videos to see how we've been doing it and how people are responding and sending their videos to us. Is at and Afghan Starvation. Once they see that, they could do solo, take a spoon, try to eat from it or look at it, and then pass it down. And then in their videos, they could write facts about what's happening to the people of Afghanistan, or they could have a group of people where small clips are put together into a bigger 60-second video, and using the hashtag and Afghan Starvation. This is just to bring awareness to people around the world, and also it could become trending. And when the young youth get involved, that's when it becomes trending, and it'll make greater impact. So we're asking a lot of the young people to join this, especially now in America. They are having a break from school.
And are there very influential figures on social media, like these influencers? Are there any people that have reached out and agreed to participate in this campaign so far?
Yes, they have. Thanks to Samira, she has been helping me with this campaign. She has gathered a few influencers. I don't remember all the names, but they're in the videos. One is Firoja. She's an active Afghan activist, young girl who is well known because of her TikTok that was taken down when she was advocating for what China was doing. So she is on board with us, and there's quite a few Afghan artists, journalists, well-known influencers. At the moment, I don't recall everyone's name, but if they go watch the videos, they could see that. I also had one of your guests. I'm gonna mispronounce her name. The UK from UK, the journalist. She was captured by the Taliban.
Yvonne Ridley.
Yes, so she took part in it too. I just read her Twitter messages came on my Twitter page, and I just messaged her. I said, "Would you like to take part?" And she said, "Sure." Right away, there was a video in my message, so I just downloaded and put it together and uploaded it again on the pages.
Yeah, Yvonne is a very kind person. I really enjoyed our podcast with her and Pashtana, who was interviewing her. Aside from influencers and the people that you're trying to mobilize, do you see like a next stage, a next step? Like, so, okay, there are protests being organized, there is a campaign on social media, there is awareness being raised. What do you see as the next stage?
So there's a short-term and a long-term planning. We're really focused a lot on the short term at the moment. We are a new group, so we just like merged about a month or two ago, working nonstop. The short term is, of course, first and foremost to alleviate this humanitarian crisis. Once we have that done through the protests, the petitions, the awareness campaign, getting people on board to help us, our next long term is to make sure Afghanistan never comes to this stage again. Make sure the economy is well supported. This we're kind of doing as we are promoting Afghan businesses in Afghanistan, whether they provide services or they provide products. So we're encouraging people to purchase from them, so the economy could go back up. Also, we are trying to in the planning. We have NGOs that we will vet out and see which are reliable, so there's no corruption. Of course, what happened in the 20 years, we're going to plan that. At the same time, we are planning to become a lobby group where we will stand up for the Afghan people, both here in the United States of America, because we are growing as Afghans. There's a lot of Afghans who are citizens of America and who can go to the poll and vote for the person they choose that will oblige and help the people of Afghanistan. The best interest, not just for the United States, but also for the best interests of humanity. These are the type of people we are looking and wanting to work with. So we want the best interests of our own country. We live in the United States of America, but at the same time, we also don't want to be selfish and say, oh, just ignore all the dangers or the wrong, but also think and reconsider what Afghanistan is going through, what the innocent people have been facing 43 years.
And I see like we have come sort of full circle here, because we started off with teaching the children about the golden rule, how we want to be treated the way we treat people the way we like to be treated, and the world is rapidly becoming like a small village. Everything is interconnected. economy, politics, media, especially with the internet. Like right now, we can talk to people in rural Afghanistan and get a sense of what's going on there. And obviously, problems also, like the pandemic, coronavirus emerged in China, and now the whole world is impacted by this virus. So if we do anything, everything is interconnected. We all, our actions, our attitudes, they all have an impact, not just on ourselves, but the whole world. And do you think that, considering all the recent developments in the world and what you just described about that incident in your city where a young woman was assaulted, are you optimistic about the current state of human beings, or do you think we are going down towards a very selfish spiral of people who are totally careless about each other?
So those who are leaders in America is a superpower, and they lead the world in everything, in every aspect. I ask my fellow Americans, about history in America, and they always tell me that America was created on the values of Christianity and Judaism, which is very nice because they have good values there. Turning the other cheek, the golden rule, and loving thy neighbor. So they have very beautiful principles and values to share. But then now we need to ask this question: is the government applying these values? Is it still in practice, not just in words? Most of the time when I see other countries that are affected by what the United States of America did, it's because America, even though it's my home now and I am an American citizen, and I love the people here. There's so many good people here that they stand up for us. They help us, like even the story of my own coming of refugees. There's so many good people. Sometimes we talk about them and say the only thing missing is Islam. Like their character is like sometimes even way better than ours. Very humble, very caring, very supportive, very charitable, generous. So one of the things I ask the United States of America all the time, I always hear is the best interest of the United States of America. I think they need to really reconsider this. What is the best interest? That makes someone very selfish. If I say, if it's my interest, I'm going to do it, whatever is good for me. But sometimes this best interest could harm us more than it gives us good. For example, if we go back to Afghan history, and in Afghanistan, when the Soviet Union invaded and the United States was going through a Cold War with them, they gave us supplies and resources to fight this war for them. Then once the war was done, they had no interest and they left us. And then that's where the vacuum came and where all these, the Civil War happened. So if at that time the United States of America thought to stay and let's help build Afghanistan, so it won't be a base where Al-Qaeda will take place. That's what I'm trying to say to them, that, the best interests need to be reconsidered and go back to the values of Christianity and Judaism. This best interest of America should also reconsider the best interests of the people of other countries, because it will come back to our doorsteps. I know a lot of European countries, they want to relieve this humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan, because the refugees will come to their doors because they're on land. It's harder to come to the United States, but it will affect us some way or somehow, this humanitarian crisis. And I don't want that for my country. I don't want that for America. I don't want it for the good people who are trying to live a normal life here too. I don't, it's, our tax money might be going to whatever might happen, maybe another war. We don't know what will the future hold if we continue to let this humanitarian crisis continue on. So that's why I urge the these leaders, these government officials, to rethink what is the best interest. Is it really connecting back to the values of Christianity and Judaism? To my understanding, they're not. They really, really need to rethink this.
You know, I was thinking just what you said. It's like we are here in Western Europe and North America. We are part of this community. I have like more than 20 years of work experience. I've paid taxes in this country. I've done all sorts of jobs. I've been always involved in all sorts of activities, and I share the concerns of people in this country because I am part of this country, part of this community. And just as you described yourself in the United States, and at the same time, we are also part of our home country, Afghanistan. And something that I would wish more people to do and emulate your attitude, your way of thinking is to be not just an advocate, but be like a bridge, tie two different communities with each other. We need to use our knowledge of two different cultures, history, community, and values, and bring people together. And I think, you know, what you are doing and what you're advocating for, it's like very inspiring. It really resonates with me as a person. And knowing our community here at the Afghan Eye, we have had ex-US servicemen who fought in Afghanistan. We had a Dutch captain of Dutch armed forces who was fighting in Afghanistan. We had so many different kinds of people here on our platform. We have all shared ideas, concerns, and despite all the political differences and different backgrounds, there are so many commonalities we have with each other, with people. And what I would really love to see more often is that people come together and have honest and sincere dialogue with each other, so that we can see that while we are very different, we also have many commonalities. We have common concerns, common issues that we are struggling with. Like you mentioned, refugee crisis. Like there are a lot of people here in the Netherlands. They have to wait 10, 12 years until they can find an apartment to rent. Okay? So can you imagine, in your own country, you have to live in a very small apartment and wait 10, 15 years until it's your turn to move to a bigger apartment where you can live more comfortably. And at the same time, they here in the Netherlands, they're saying, we have so many problems, and now these thousands of refugees are coming here and they're taking all these apartments, and there is not enough space for us. And I actually feel like I feel that concern and that worry that people have about their own well-being, their own situation. And then we see how policies of governments are basically not addressing the bigger issues, the main themes that are causing those problems. And what I would love to see more often is that we can actually reach out to people, to have conversations with people with different communities, different constituencies, and discuss how, like, we don't want you to have that people here should suffer somehow because of what's happening in Afghanistan. That's not what we are advocating for. And last thing that I would like to ask you is, you know, the concepts and ideas that you describe, what you're writing in your books and what you're teaching, and plus your role as an activist and as an advocate, it is something that is being taught and preached. And you are also actively contributing to your community, but there are also people who would listen to you and they would say, yes, she's right. Yes, I agree. But what is it specifically that triggers people into action?
I mean, everyone has a different life, different experience. It could be a life crisis that triggers them to change, hopefully for the better. Sometimes it could go the opposite way. There's many things that could trigger a person to realize that, hey, we need to do something about this. Let's not be selfish, only think about ourselves. One of the advice I give to parents, you're helping your child. That's a good thing. But who is your child going to hang out with? Did you think about going to the community and helping the children who live there and who your child is going to go play with? So, yeah, you have to come out this bubble. I myself I was not very good at speaking. Many people would tell me, writing. No, I didn't get a good grade in my language art class, but these were my weaknesses, and I focused on my weakness. And I said, how can I better this? Because I need to know how to write. I need to be a better writer, better speaker, for me to promote the golden rule. So I worked on myself. I worked on my weakness. And at the same time, I got out of my comfort zone. And that's one thing I see first and foremost to our Afghan community, then the Muslims community at large. We need to get out of our bubbles. We are very talented, very skilled people. There's so many goodness in us, but we need to bring it out to the world. It's not showing off. It's not gaining influencers. This is not the main motive. It shouldn't be the main motive. It is to make this world a better place for all of humanity. We just have to get up. If you don't do nothing today, it's going to come to your front door, and then you're going to be like, say, why didn't I do anything?
Thank you very much. You said that you're currently working on an Islamic book. Could you maybe briefly tell us more about that?
Sure. It's the 99 Names of Allah. So the author, the main author who wrote the book, she asked a few authors to take one of the name and reflect it into our lives and see how that name had affected our lives. So I did participate, and I took two names, and she will have three books, volumes out. And then the first volume is just released. So I haven't even gotten to the chance to, support her work and promote it because of the humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. And I did reach out to her, and I did apologize, and she was very understanding.
And what's her name?
Mona.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will... Inshallah, I'll try to work with her and promote her work. Inshallah, she did a very great job, and I'm very proud of her.
Okay, thank you very much. If people want to get in touch with you or get to know about you or buy your books, how can they reach you?
They could find me anywhere on social media. My name is Gulmakai Saleh, the handle Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. That's another thing that I haven't really talked about, where I'm teaching Afghan history and culture. Instagram. My books are available on Amazon. Just type in my name and you'll find them.
Thank you. I will put the links to your different pages and platforms in the description of this episode. Thank you very much for being our guest. And I hope that this campaign becomes successful. And hopefully in the near future, we will have you again as a guest.
Jazakallah khair. I appreciate it. May Allah bless your efforts. Hopefully Allah bless you with more success with the Afghan Eye product.
Ameen. Thank you very much. And you too.
You're welcome. Okay. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum.